Rice is an incredibly important crop that has been grown in California for over 100 years. California is the second largest rice-producing state, trailing Arkansas. Rice provides approximately 25,000 jobs to the state economy, and California provides virtually all of America's sushi rice. 97% of California's rice is grown in the Sacramento Valley. There is around 550,000 acres of rice grown in California annually, producing nearly 5 billion pounds of rice. But each grain of rice has a long journey to make before it arrives on your plate. So, let's start at the beginning. Months before the first rice is seeded, the Sacramento Valley sleeps. Winter storms bring rain not just to the valley, but to water reservoirs vital to all Californians as well. Rainwater that stays in the field soaks into the earth, recharging groundwater sources deep underground. Even as the valley sleeps, nature still flourishes. The cold, flooded fields of the valley provide an important resting place for migratory birds on the Pacific Flyway. The Pacific Flyway extends north to Alaska and south to Patagonia. At least 1 billion birds migrate along the Pacific Flyway and depend greatly on the valley rice fields for food and rest. Over 350 different species of birds will traverse the Pacific Flyway every year. Water runoff from the mountains, fields, and creeks will find its way towards the Sacramento River and then into the Pacific Ocean. As grateful for the groundwater as farmers are, flooded fields are impossible to be worked up. As spring draws near, farmers ensure every field is draining properly. The days grow longer, the air warms up, and the valley begins to wake. In spring, the valley comes alive. As soon as they can get tractors in the fields, farmers begin working up the ground in preparation for planting. Everywhere you look, heavy equipment can be seen working. All crops, including rice, have a specific window of time they need to be planted in. Rice fields, however, take a significant amount of work to be ready for planting. The winter weeds have grown tall and need to be mowed down so as not to plug up other implements. Chisels are one of the first implements to turn over the dirt, uprooting any remaining weeds and fluffing up the topsoil. Chisels gently toss the top several inches of earth by digging in with dozens of metal points. They can cover wide swaths of the field with every pass. However, chisels aren't the only piece of equipment used to open up a field. Discs use counter-mounted heavy circular blades to cut the dirt and throw it to the side. Discs chop up the weeds without plugging up, but create a small ridge and ditch in the ground on either side of the implement. Once the ground has been opened up, it must be leveled. GPS autosteer guides the tractors to drive in perfectly straight lines. Large scrapers use RTK triangulation to perfectly level every field. Once leveled, fertilizer is applied. The most important is aqua ammonia, a potent nitrogen-based fertilizer. After the fertilizer has been put down, the final groundwork begins. The fields are rolled to form tiny grooves and tamp down any remaining dirt clods. These grooves will hold the rice seed and help the freshly sprouted seedlings to take root. The once flooded ground of the valley now resembles a barren desert. But that won't last long. Before the fields can be seeded, they must be flooded again. Rice fields are divided into checks to control proper water level. Canals provide the majority of water to these fields. Food grows where water flows. The heavy clay soil acts as a natural basin to efficiently hold the water. Water is transferred to the fields by large ditches or through underground pipes. It takes several days to flood an entire field. But soon the valley is flooded again, and it's time for the flyboys to get to work. Crop duster airplanes soon fill the skies in the valley. The planes airdrop rice seed directly into the water. Seeding rice by air is both fast and efficient. Crop dusters can cover many acres incredibly quickly. Farmers rely on crop duster pilots for many jobs, but never more so than when it's time to seed the rice crop. These mechanical marvels are an integral part of farming. As spring draws to a close, it's time to watch the crop grow. Summer is busy, yet not as busy as spring. The hot summer months can be almost a respite from the spring flurry of activity. Farmers spend the summer monitoring their fields for water levels, diseases, weeds, and destructive insects. Fields are checked every day from the moment the rice is planted. Some farmers have unique ways of checking their fields. The rice is monitored through every stage of its life, from germination to seedling to full vegetative growth. Every day the rice fields fill in more and more. Before long, the valley resembles a large carpet of deep green. The rice fields hold water very efficiently, but water still must be continuously added to maintain proper levels in the fields. Water is an incredible resource that farmers make sure not to take for granted. Most, if not all, rice fields will need to be sprayed for weeds at some point during the year. Many undesirable plants thrive in the rice fields. They rob nutrients from the soil and shade out the rice plants. Using tractors equipped with skinny steel wheels, farmers can drive through the muddy fields without getting stuck in order to apply herbicides to suppress the weeds. Crop dusters can also be used for pesticide applications during this time. In late summer, farmers begin preparing their harvesting equipment. The summer greens of the valley will soon turn to autumn golds. The days grow shorter. The seasons begin to change. Harvest will soon come to the valley. Everything has come down to this: harvest. Bringing in the rice crop before the winter rains arrive is both a marathon and a race. The rice cannot be harvested until it's dry enough, so the fields have been drained weeks in advance. Once it's time to go, farmers will spend all day, every day, for weeks on end in a tractor cab bringing in the rice crop. Some farms will harvest their entire acreage with just one team. Other farms will employ teams of harvesting crews, as well as helping harvest their neighbors' fields. Farmers begin the day of harvesting as soon as the morning dew burns off. The workday only ends when the evening dew comes in. It's not uncommon for farmers to work well past sunset during harvest. Farmers will keep this work up for weeks on end. Harvesters cut the stalks and thresh the grain, gather it into a holding tank, and dump the grain into a bank out that transports the grain to waiting trucks and trailers. This Californian gold will then be transported from the fields to storage bins and mills for processing. Day after day, week after week, acre after acre, until the last pass is finished. And the crop is finally in. Harvest is finally done. The work isn't done after harvest, however. The straw left over from threshing is chopped by a large mower, and the fields are chiseled or disked once again. Turning over the soil helps the straw decompose over the winter. Some fields have water added to them to help jumpstart the straw decomposition process. Some farms will flood the fields first and then work up the ground later. The decomposing rice straw will act as a natural fertilizer for next year's crop. Some farms will burn off their fields after harvesting them. Burning the fields can help reduce fungus and diseases in the coming year. No matter whether the fields are burned, worked up, or flooded, they will soon become home to the Pacific flyway migration again. The freshly harvested fields provide food and rest to the migratory birds. The skies and fields are soon chock full of ibis, seagulls, ducks, geese, and more. With the flooding of the fields and the arrival of the migratory flocks, the valley has come full circle. Equipment is cleaned and put away before the winter storms arrive. And finally, after many long months of hard work, the farmers of the Sacramento Valley rest.